Welcome to our free learning university, Next Generation. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful business stories in the modern world. A story that begins in a small room with two young dreamers and transforms into a global empire that reshaped how we work, play, and live. This is the Microsoft success story, the software empire that changed the world. The year is 1975. Personal computers are still a distant idea for most people. Big, bulky mainframe machines dominate universities and government labs, far away from the hands of ordinary people. But somewhere in Albuquerque, New Mexico, two young men, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, see a future no one else can. A future where computers will sit on every desk, in every home, and in every business. Bill Gates is a Harvard dropout, not because he isn't smart, but because his ambitions are too big to be contained in a classroom. Paul Allen, a passionate programmer, shares the same obsession. They want to make computers accessible to everyone. Their friendship goes back to high school in Seattle, where they spent endless nights in computer labs, fascinated by how machines think. One day, in January 1975, they see something that changes their lives forever. On the cover of Popular Electronics magazine is the Altair 8800, a small personal computer kit. It's not fancy, but it's revolutionary. Gates looks at Allen and says, "We can build software for this." That single sentence becomes the spark that ignites the Microsoft revolution. They immediately get to work. Gates calls MITS, the company behind the Altair, and claims they already have a working version of BASIC, a programming language for the machine. In reality, they don't, but this is their chance. They work day and night, coding, testing, and pushing limits. In just 8 weeks, Paul Allen flies to Albuquerque with the program. It works flawlessly. MITS is impressed, and Microsoft, a name they just created, signs its very first deal. What makes this story special isn't just genius coding. It's timing, vision, and fearlessness. While most people thought personal computers were toys, Gates and Allen saw a revolution waiting to happen. Microsoft's first success with BASIC isn't huge in money, but it opens the door to something far bigger. Meanwhile, the computer industry begins to shift. Companies like Apple, IBM, and Commodore are experimenting with new designs. The idea of bringing computers to homes is gaining traction. Gates and Allen move Microsoft from Albuquerque to Seattle to be closer to the tech wave. They recruit a small team of brilliant programmers who believe in their mission. But Microsoft's real turning point comes in 1980. IBM, one of the most powerful companies in the world, decides to enter the personal computer market. But they don't want to build software from scratch. They need someone to provide the operating system. That's when Microsoft steps in. But here's the twist. Microsoft doesn't even have an operating system ready. Gates, with his sharp business instincts, negotiates a deal with IBM anyway. He finds a small company that owns a system called QDOS, buys it for $50,000, and modifies it into what will become MS-DOS. It's a masterstroke. Microsoft doesn't sell MS-DOS to IBM. Instead, they license it, allowing them to provide the software to other companies too. That single strategic move lays the foundation for Microsoft's dominance in the PC era. IBM PCs explode in popularity, and Microsoft grows with them, making money every time someone uses their software. By the early 1980s, Microsoft is no longer a small startup. It's becoming a force. The company culture is intense. Gates is known for his sharp, analytical mind and relentless drive. He pushes his team to perfection, often working late into the night himself. This early phase isn't just about products. It's about building a mindset, one that says software is the future, but the competition is fierce. Apple launches the Macintosh with a graphical user interface. something way more user-friendly than MS-DOS's black screen and blinking cursor. Gates realizes that if Microsoft doesn't evolve, it'll be left behind. So, in 1983, they begin working on a new project, something they call Interface Manager, which will soon become Microsoft Windows. While the world is focused on hardware, bigger, faster, shinier machines, Gates bets everything on software. He knows that the real power isn't the box you touch, it's the code that runs it. This vision separates Microsoft from the rest. In 1985, Microsoft officially launches Windows 1.0. It's not perfect. Critics call it clunky. Apple mocks it. But Gates doesn't care. He sees the future clearly. He knows this is just the beginning. Slowly but surely, Windows improves. By the late 1980s, it's becoming the standard interface for millions of computers worldwide. One of the most brilliant business moves during this era is Microsoft's OEM licensing strategy. Instead of selling Windows to end users, they make deals with computer manufacturers. So every time someone buys a PC, it comes with Windows pre-installed. That's how Microsoft quietly takes over the world. But behind every major innovation is a story of risk. Microsoft faces lawsuits, criticism, and technical challenges. But Gates' leadership, sometimes controversial, always bold, keeps the company focused. He isn't just a programmer. He's a visionary who understands both code and business. As Microsoft grows, Gates builds a team that reflects his intensity. The company becomes known for its demanding work environment, but it also attracts the best minds in the industry. Talented engineers and managers join because they want to be part of something bigger, the revolution of personal computing. By 1986, Microsoft goes public. Its IPO instantly creates millionaires, and Gates becomes one of the richest young men in the world. But he isn't done. His dream isn't just to build software. It's to make Microsoft the backbone of the entire computing world. Windows is still evolving, but its potential is unlimited. And while others doubt, Gates pushes forward. This early phase of Microsoft's journey is more than just business history. It's a lesson in vision, execution, and strategy. From two young dreamers to a growing software powerhouse, Microsoft is about to step onto the global stage and reshape the future forever. Welcome to our free learning university, Next Generation. In Part 1, we explored how Bill Gates and Paul Allen turned a simple dream into a software company that would shape the future. They laid the foundation with BASIC and MS-DOS, and Windows was just beginning to make its mark. Now, the real empire building begins. The late 1980s and early 1990s were a time of rapid technological change. The personal computer was no longer just a hobbyist gadget. It was becoming a global necessity. Schools, businesses, and homes around the world were adopting PCs at record speed. Microsoft saw this moment clearly. Gates knew that whoever controls the software platform controls the future. When Windows 3.0 launched in 1990, everything changed. Unlike Windows 1.0, this version was polished, faster, and far more user-friendly. For the first time, people could navigate their computers with visual icons instead of typing cryptic commands. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. Processors were getting faster, memory was cheaper, and people wanted simplicity. Windows 3.0 became an instant hit. Within a year, it sold millions of copies. Companies started standardizing their operations on Windows. Schools adopted it as their default operating system. And most importantly, software developers began writing their programs for Windows first. Microsoft didn't just sell software. It built an entire ecosystem. Meanwhile, Apple had a strong head start with the Macintosh and its elegant graphical interface. But Apple made a strategic error. It kept its system closed, meaning only Apple could make Mac computers. Microsoft, on the other hand, licensed Windows to dozens of PC manufacturers around the world. That single difference turned Microsoft into an unstoppable force. Gates wasn't just a programmer. He was a chess player, thinking 10 moves ahead. By 1992, Microsoft held the lion's share of the personal computing market. Its stock was soaring, and thousands of employees were becoming millionaires overnight. Microsoft headquarters in Redmond, Washington, was buzzing with innovation and ambition. In 1995, Microsoft launched Windows 95, and the world witnessed a historic moment. It wasn't just a software release. It was a cultural event. People lined up outside stores like it was a concert. Television commercials featuring the Rolling Stones, "Start Me Up," blasted across screens. The new Start button, taskbar, an easy-to-use interface, revolutionized the way people interacted with computers. But Microsoft didn't stop there. Gates saw that the next great revolution wasn't just in personal computing. It was in the internet. In the early 1990s, companies like Netscape were pioneering web browsers, and the World Wide Web was exploding in popularity. Gates realized that Microsoft couldn't afford to miss this wave. In December 1995, Gates wrote his now famous Internet Tidal Wave memo, declaring the Internet to be the single most important development since the personal computer. Microsoft quickly shifted gears and released Internet Explorer, which it bundled with Windows. This move gave Microsoft a massive advantage over Netscape and other browser companies. By the late 1990s, Internet Explorer became the dominant browser, installed on nearly every computer. Microsoft wasn't just winning. It was shaping how people experienced the online world. But this aggressive dominance didn't come without consequences. Governments and competitors began to question Microsoft's tactics. In 1998, the US Department of Justice filed a major antitrust lawsuit against Microsoft, accusing it of using its power unfairly to crush competition, particularly in how it bundled Internet Explorer with Windows. This lawsuit was a defining moment for the company. Microsoft was portrayed as a corporate giant, too powerful for its own good. Gates, usually calm and strategic, found himself defending the company's every move in court. While the legal battle raged, Microsoft continued to innovate. In 1998, it released Windows 98, which further improved performance and integrated the internet deeply into the system. And in 2001, they released one of their most successful products ever, Windows XP. Windows XP was fast, stable, and beautifully designed for its time. It combined the reliability of Windows 2000 with the user-friendliness of Windows 98. Businesses loved it. Home users loved it. It became the gold standard of operating systems and remained popular for more than a decade. At the same time, Microsoft was diversifying. It wasn't just a Windows company anymore. It developed Microsoft Office, which became essential for productivity worldwide. Word, Excel, and PowerPoint became household names. Entire corporations ran their daily work on Microsoft software. But Gates had a bigger dream: to put Microsoft at the center of every aspect of digital life. That meant expanding beyond PCs. In 2001, Microsoft launched its first gaming console, the Xbox. Many doubted whether Microsoft could compete with giants like Sony and Nintendo. But Xbox slowly grew, powered by exclusive titles and the revolutionary Xbox Live, which brought online multiplayer gaming to the mainstream. Meanwhile, the company launched .NET, a powerful platform for developers, and continued expanding its server business. Microsoft was transforming from a single product company into a tech empire with multiple pillars. Even as the antitrust case loomed over it, Microsoft remained profitable and influential. In 2000, Bill Gates stepped down as CEO, and handed the role to Steve Ballmer, his close friend and fellow Harvard classmate. Gates remained as chairman and chief software architect, focusing on long-term vision, while Ballmer handled day-to-day operations. Under Ballmer, Microsoft became more aggressive in enterprise markets. It built powerful tools for businesses, from server software to databases. Windows 2000 and later Windows Server versions became the backbone of corporate IT. The early 2000s were Microsoft's golden age of dominance. It controlled more than 90% of the world's desktop operating systems. Every major office depended on Microsoft Office. Internet Explorer ruled the web. And with Xbox, Microsoft was making inroads into entertainment. But with great power comes great pressure. Competitors like Apple, Google, and Linux communities were rising fast. Microsoft couldn't stay still. The tech world was evolving, and new kinds of devices were beginning to emerge. Mobile phones, tablets, and cloud computing. Gates understood that Microsoft had to evolve again. The company had conquered the PC world, but to stay on top, it needed to conquer the future. The early 2000s were a time of triumph and warning signs for Microsoft. While the company stood at the top of the tech world, with Windows and Office dominating homes and businesses, a new digital era was quietly forming. The personal computer was no longer the center of innovation. Mobile devices, the internet, and cloud computing were about to reshape everything. For decades, Microsoft's strategy had been clear: rule the PC platform. But now, other giants were rising. Apple, under Steve Jobs, was launching revolutionary products like the iPod in 2001 and later the iPhone in 2007. Google was growing rapidly with its search engine and innovative online services. Amazon was building its own massive cloud infrastructure. Microsoft, however, was slow to react. The company still believed that Windows would remain at the heart of computing forever. This mindset created what many analysts later called Microsoft's lost decade. When the first iPhone launched in 2007, Microsoft executives reportedly laughed. They believed a touchscreen phone without a keyboard would never succeed in the business world. But they were wrong. The iPhone transformed how people interacted with technology, and more importantly, shifted the center of computing away from the desktop. Google followed with Android, an open mobile operating system that allowed phone manufacturers everywhere to join the smartphone revolution. Within a few years, billions of people were using iPhones or Android devices, not Windows phones. Microsoft had tried to enter the mobile market earlier with Windows Mobile, but it wasn't designed for the new era of sleek touch interfaces. It looked outdated and clunky compared to iOS and Android. And because Microsoft failed to attract enough developers to build great apps, its mobile ecosystem never took off. The company attempted a comeback with Windows Phone 7 and later Windows Phone 8, investing billions of dollars in marketing and even acquiring Nokia's smartphone division. But by then, the mobile market was already dominated by Apple and Google. The dream of Windows in every pocket faded away. Meanwhile, another big technological shift was happening: the cloud revolution. Amazon launched Amazon Web Services, AWS, giving businesses the power to run their applications and store data online. Google followed with its own cloud services. For years, Microsoft focused on traditional software, selling licenses for Windows and Office. But in the new world, companies no longer wanted to install software on every computer. They wanted subscription-based online services. Microsoft faced its biggest question since the early days. Could it adapt fast enough to survive this new tech war? During this time, under Steve Ballmer's leadership, Microsoft made both bold moves and costly mistakes. One of its most controversial decisions was the launch of Windows Vista in 2007. Vista was supposed to be the future of Windows, but it became one of the most criticized products in Microsoft's history. It was slow, buggy, and required powerful hardware that many users didn't have. Businesses refused to adopt it, and many downgraded back to Windows XP. Vista became a symbol of Microsoft losing its edge. But Microsoft wasn't done. In 2009, it launched Windows 7, a polished, stable, and fast system that won back user trust. Windows 7 became one of the most beloved versions of Windows ever, and reminded the world that Microsoft could still deliver excellence. At the same time, Microsoft continued to expand in other areas. Its Xbox division was booming. The Xbox 360, released in 2005, became a global success and rivaled Sony's PlayStation. Xbox Live grew into one of the biggest online gaming communities in the world, turning gaming into a massive revenue stream for the company. Microsoft also dominated the Office software world with Microsoft Office. But a new threat was rising: Google Docs. Unlike Office, which was installed on your computer, Google Docs ran in the browser for free. Businesses and students loved the convenience of working online and collaborating in real time. This was a direct threat to one of Microsoft's biggest sources of income. Gates and Ballmer realized that if Microsoft didn't embrace the cloud, others would take its place. In the early 2010s, Microsoft made one of its smartest pivots in history. It launched Office 365, a cloud-based subscription model for its Office suite. Instead of paying once for software, users now paid monthly or yearly subscriptions. This gave Microsoft a steady stream of recurring revenue and helped it transition into the cloud era. But the biggest turning point came in 2014, when Satya Nadella became CEO. Nadella brought a fresh vision. Unlike Ballmer, he wasn't focused solely on Windows. His mission was to transform Microsoft into a cloud-first, AI-powered, and platform-agnostic company. Nadella shifted the company's mindset. Instead of forcing people to use Windows, Microsoft started offering its software and services on every platform: iOS, Android, Mac, and Linux. This was a radical change for a company that once lived by the motto, Windows everywhere. Under Nadella's leadership, Microsoft invested heavily in Azure, its cloud platform. Azure quickly grew to become the second largest cloud provider in the world, competing directly with Amazon AWS. Microsoft also reimagined Office 365, Teams, and other productivity tools as part of a connected ecosystem. Another bold move was Microsoft's embrace of open source. For decades, Microsoft had fought Linux and open source communities, but Nadella flipped the narrative. He made Microsoft one of the biggest contributors to open source in the world. This helped rebuild the company's reputation with developers and innovators. Meanwhile, Windows was still important, but it was no longer the center of everything. Microsoft launched Windows 10 in 2015 as a service, rather than a one-time product, giving it continuous updates and long-term support. This approach made it more secure and user-friendly. Microsoft also doubled down on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and enterprise solutions. The company acquired LinkedIn in 2016 for $26 billion, giving it a major presence in the professional networking and business world. It also acquired GitHub in 2018, a huge step toward winning over developers globally. By the late 2010s, Microsoft had completed its transformation. It was no longer just a Windows company. It was a cloud powerhouse, a gaming giant, and a trusted enterprise partner for governments and corporations worldwide. But there was still one area where it faced stiff competition: consumer technology. While Apple and Google dominated the smartphone world, Microsoft shifted its focus toward hybrid devices, such as the Surface lineup, which combined the power of laptops with the portability of tablets. The The Surface became a quiet but powerful success, especially among professionals and creatives. The company also entered new spaces, like augmented and virtual reality, with HoloLens, and strengthened its AI research. Most importantly, Microsoft had learned a hard but valuable lesson. Adaptation is the key to survival in tech. What once was a software company built on Windows had now become a global tech empire built on cloud, services, and intelligence, and the world was taking notice. As the 2020s began, Microsoft had firmly re-established itself as one of the most valuable companies in the world. Its transformation from a traditional software vendor to a cloud-first, AI-powered technology leader was nothing short of remarkable. After surviving massive shifts in the tech landscape, Microsoft stood stronger, more adaptive, and more relevant than ever before. Under Satya Nadella, the company's culture had changed dramatically. Gone was the rigid, Windows-dominated mindset of the past. Microsoft had become a more open, innovative, and collaborative company. This shift not only helped it grow financially, but also won back the trust of developers, customers, and even competitors. One of the pillars of this new Microsoft was Azure, its cloud computing platform. Azure powered everything from startups to global enterprises, enabling companies to build, deploy, and scale applications worldwide. Azure wasn't just a competitor to Amazon AWS. It became a core part of global infrastructure. Governments, hospitals, banks, and countless businesses relied on Azure's security and reliability. Another key driver was Microsoft 365, the evolved form of Office 365. It wasn't just Word, Excel, and PowerPoint anymore. It was a full productivity ecosystem, including Teams, OneDrive, and advanced AI-powered tools. These services became essential for businesses, schools, and individuals, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, when remote work became the global norm. In fact, during the pandemic, Microsoft Teams saw explosive growth. Millions of companies and schools adopted it overnight, making it a cornerstone of digital communication. This cemented Microsoft's role not just as a software provider, but as a backbone of the modern digital workplace. Meanwhile, LinkedIn, which Microsoft had acquired in 2016, grew into one of the world's most powerful professional platforms. It wasn't just a networking site. It became a global business and talent ecosystem. This acquisition gave Microsoft unparalleled access to valuable business data and deep integration opportunities with its productivity tools. Another major area where Microsoft became a force was gaming. Its Xbox ecosystem expanded massively with services like Xbox Game Pass, offering gamers a Netflix-like subscription model. Game Pass revolutionized how people accessed and played games. Microsoft also made one of the biggest acquisitions in gaming history when it announced its plan to acquire Activision Blizzard, the company behind hits like Call of Duty, Candy Crush, and World of Warcraft. This bold move positioned Microsoft as a serious leader in the global gaming industry, rivaling Sony and Nintendo in scale and ambition. At the same time, Microsoft was investing heavily in artificial intelligence and machine learning. It wasn't just building tools. It was partnering with OpenAI, investing billions to bring advanced AI technologies like GPT, generative pre-trained transformer, into the mainstream. Microsoft's products like Word, Excel, Outlook, and Teams started integrating AI-powered copilots to make work faster, smarter, and more efficient. This partnership gave Microsoft a huge edge in the AI race, allowing it to lead a new wave of innovation that could transform industries worldwide. Nadella often said that AI is the next platform shift, and Microsoft was positioning itself right at the center of it. The company also expanded its Surface hardware line, combining design elegance with power and flexibility. Unlike Apple, Microsoft didn't rely only on hardware, but its Surface devices became respected tools for creators, professionals, and businesses. But perhaps the most important thing Microsoft achieved was something less visible: trust. While other tech giants faced heavy criticism and scandals, Microsoft managed to maintain a relatively positive public image. It focused on security, enterprise solutions, and responsible AI, which helped build confidence among governments, businesses, and users worldwide. In 2019, Microsoft became the most valuable publicly traded company in the world, briefly surpassing Apple. Its market value crossed $1 trillion, and in the following years, it continued to grow, joining the exclusive club of companies worth over $2 trillion. This success didn't come from luck. It came from reinvention. Microsoft had failed in mobile. It had stumbled with Vista. It had faced lawsuits, criticism, and changing markets. But unlike many tech companies that faded away, Microsoft adapted, evolved, and came back stronger. One of the keys to this transformation was its leadership mindset. Satya Nadella emphasized empathy, learning, and collaboration. He often spoke about moving the company from a know-it-all culture to a learn-it-all culture. This cultural shift helped Microsoft innovate faster and build technologies that truly mattered. Today, Microsoft isn't just a software company. It's a cloud provider, a gaming powerhouse, an AI leader, a hardware innovator, and a trusted partner to governments and businesses worldwide. It powers critical systems in hospitals, banks, airports, and research centers. It provides tools for students, professionals, and developers. And it's shaping the future of AI and technology. The story of Microsoft proves a timeless truth. The companies that survive are not the biggest or the richest. They are the ones that adapt. Bill Gates and Paul Allen started something revolutionary in a small room in the 1970s. Over the decades, that small idea grew into one of the most influential forces in modern history. Even today, as new challenges arise, from AI competition to cybersecurity threats and global market shifts, Microsoft continues to stand tall, not because it never failed, but because it learned from every failure and turned it into strength. And as the world moves deeper into an AI-driven future, Microsoft is not watching from the sidelines. It's building the road ahead. We're not building a future just for us, Nadella once said. We're building a future with everyone. This is the power of Microsoft, a company that changed the world once and is now doing it all over again.